Today we shall discuss Matthew Arnold's Dover Beach. And we know that this particular poem is a very characteristic poem which acts as the bridge between the Romantic period and the modern period. So Victorian time, we know that there was the development of science and technology, and thus the religious faith were being often questioned. And then this poetry also contains that theme, how the religious faith reduces because of this reasoning and of the development of science and technology, and especially due to the evolutionary theory of Darwin. So let us see this poem. This poem is set in a seashore where probably they are in a cottage near the seashore, and then he is asking his beloved to come and look at the sea, etc. Let's see this. The sea is calm tonight. Tonight the sea is very calm. The tide is full, the moon lies fair upon the straits. So the tide is very much full, the waves are very full, and the moon lies very fair upon the straits. What do you mean by strait? Strait is a narrow passage of water that is connecting two seas. And then what is peculiar about this particular sea is that this is connecting France and England. France and England are connected by this particular sea. On the French coast, the light gleams and is gone. So in the French coast, what we see, the light gleams and it is gone. And in England side, we see the cliffs that are glimmering and that are very vast. On the tranquil bay means calm seashore. Calm bay means the broad inlet of the sea where the land curves inwards. Like, the sea comes and the land curves like this. Okay, come to the window. So he's asking his beloved to come to the window. Sweet is the night air. The night air is very sweet. Only from the long line of spray where the sea meets the moon-blanched land, listen, you hear the grating roar. So he says that this is the place where sea meets the moon-blanched land. Moon-blanched land is the kind of the light, the moonlight, the land which has the moonlight. Listen, you hear the grating roar of pebbles which the waves draw back and fling at their return up the high strands, begin and cease and then again begin. So he says that, do you hear the grating sound of the pebbles? The pebbles that are there in the sea, the waves come and struck these pebbles and then it retrieves back. Sometimes it takes the pebble along and again it is brought again. So this kind of grating roar, do you hear? But tremulous, cadence slow, and bring the eternal sadness in. So this modulation of the voice that is there in the sea, this actually brings in the eternal note of sadness. Sophocles long ago, this sadness, this eternal note of sadness is not seen in this century, it is seen centuries before. Sophocles long ago heard it on the Aegean, and it brought into his mind the turbid ebb and flow of human misery. So Sophocles also heard about this long time in the Aegean Sea, and that brought into mind the turbid ebb and flow of human misery. We find also in the sound a thought, hearing it by the distant northern sea. So he says that this age-old times, Sophocles also heard this same sound of the pebbles, and then he felt it like the sound of human misery. And the same way, this noise also instills in Arnold some thoughts, similar thoughts. The sea of faith was once too at full, and round that shore lay like the folds of a bright girdle furled. So in marriages and all, we can see a kind of ornament is there by the waist, around the waist, right? That is called girdle. So here he says that even the sea of faith was also like a girdle to the earth's surface, earth's shore. But now I only hear its melancholy long withdrawing roar, retreating to the breath of the night wind, down the vast edges drear and naked shingles of the world. So he says that now he only hears sea of faith was once there, but now he hears only the melancholy sound, withdrawing, roaring sound, retreating sound that is only being heard. Ah, love, let us be true to one another, for the world which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams. Oh, my dear love, let us be true to one another. Everything around the world is losing its meaning. At least let us be true to one another. Let us love one another truly. For the world which seems to lie before us like a land of dreams, the world lies before us like a land of dreams. So various, so beautiful, so new. But it has neither joy It doesn't have got joy in it. No love, no light, no certitude. There is no certainty. Nothing is there. Nor peace, not even help for pain. Nothing is there in this world. So at least let us be true to one another. And the only certain thing is their relationship. And then he's asking her to be true with that. And we are here on a darkling plane. We are here on this darkling plane. We are like this. How we are in this darkling plane? Swept with confused alarms of struggle and flight. So we are so confused with the alarms of struggle, with the alarms of flight. We are so confused, where ignorant armies clash by night. The ignorant armies, the armies that are ignorant. This shows that we are in this world fighting for something which we don't know the reason why we are fighting for. So all of us, we are like ignorant armies who doesn't know why the fight is for or whom they are fighting. They know nothing. How the ignorant armies clash by night in the darkness. They don't know even what is happening. We are like that. So the sea of faith is getting lost because of the rise of science and technology. And then he asked everybody to bring back the faith. And then even he is also in a confused stage whether to accept it or not. And then here he thinks that okay, so just like the like the religion is conventional religion is not there, so he thinks that at least through his poetry he can give some moral lessons to the people, some idea about the importance of faith. That is what we see in this poem. I hope you it's very clear to you. Thank you so much. Bye.